Luxury. How has that vision taken you from the 27-year-old guy just looking to figure out how to even sell a house to where the actual footprint is now?
When I started in real estate, I was like the peasant of Rhode Island real estate. If you can't bet on yourself, who's gonna bet on you?
You have to keep the pedal to the metal. Good morning, everybody. We're here at England Volkers here in East Greenwich with Emilio Dispirito the fourth. Emilio,
that's right. What's up, Dan?
How you doing, my brother?
How are you?
Yeah, today we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things, how I met Emilio, what his brokerage offers, and his mission statement here as he continues to grow in the years to come. Mm-hmm. So Emilio, you and I met probably 10 years ago, right? When you first got your real estate license.
Yeah.
I was introduced to you through Matt Resnick, if we had to go all the way down the line.
That's right.
And we were in short sale hell at the time, right? I mean, we met in a distressed property market.
That's right.
And here we are, fast forward 10, 11 years, and we're in a completely different market, I think, that you and I have never seen. Mm-hmm. But, tell me, how you got into real estate. I know you have a great story, and I'm sure people would love to hear that, because I don't think people realize. They think they see this now, and they think, oh, Emilio just started this way.
Yeah.
So if you could tell them a little bit about who you are, where you came from, and how you've grown over the years with your business. That'd be great.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I come from some pretty humble beginnings. I always was lucky enough to have parents that worked very hard and gave me a great work ethic. But we had to grind, I mean, I remember being a kid, going without some things, and nothing crazy, but I mean, we didn't go out to eat all the time.
Yeah.
5 times a year. It was for our birthdays, stuff like that.
Birthday, maybe a holiday if you got lucky.
But I'm so glad that it was like that, because it gave me an appreciation for the value of $1 and how hard it was to earn $1, Dan.
Yeah.
So when I started in real estate, I was like the peasant of Rhode Island real estate. Everybody laughed at me. I was 27, and back then, a decade ago, there wasn't a lot of young guys in the business.
Yeah.
There really wasn't. So man, I'd be driving down this road in East Greenwich, right, with my bumper hanging off. I remember I was just total trash, right? I remember I went and gave the clerk at Cumberland Farms my last 27 cents. She laughed in my face, right? I love that kind of adversity, right? Because it fuels a fire, right? I would shovel driveways just to put money in my gas when it snowed, to pay rent.
Yeah.
Bro, I mean, it's all good. And a lot of people starting out go through that, but it's all about just staying with it, staying consistent, and don't listen to the naysayers, because everybody wants to tell you can't do something when they can't.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the easy way to go about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Success.
Absolutely.
So who was your first mentor in the business? Everybody has a mentor. I started with a law firm, and today, I still have a mentor in that person. And so who would you say your first mentor is? Maybe it wasn't the broker owner. Maybe it was just somebody in the office. Was there somebody that you saw in the industry that you said, you know what, I like the way that they do business?
Actually, Alan Gammons was there. Alan Gammons was I saw Prudential Gammons. I was working at Wyker at the time, right? And Prudential Gammons is what it was back in the day. I saw how Alan had a team and how he was out there just crushing the listing game, right? Doing really, really well. And they recruited me. And I went over there and I started a team. Shortly after, I linked up with you, and we started talking and working together, man. I don't think that there's one person in general. I'm somebody that can learn from everybody around me, and I take a deep appreciation for true professionals, and really see there's bits and pieces that you take from everybody, good or bad, and what to do, not to do.
Yeah. I'm still in that mode too. I'm year 19 right now, almost year 20 coming next year. And I'm learning from some of the young cats in the game.
Absolutely.
I see a different way that they're selling, or a different way that they're doing their business, and I'm intrigued by it. There's from from 8 to 80, there's a way to learn.
That's right.
And at the end of the day, I really do appreciate some of the new people. We were just talking about one of the gentlemen that was on our panel for the Buyer Agency 2.0. And he has a whole different perspective of selling and how he does his business.
Oh yeah, Jose Diaz.
Yeah, he's fantastic. So Jose, shout out to you. So Emilio, you're 27, the bumper's falling off the car, you've got 27 cents to stop and get gas. You're shoveling driveways to help your family, support yourself. Where's the vision come? Here we are again, 10 years later. Where's that come from? Where are you? Where you started to and where you are now. You're probably the same person, but you're a different person.
Well, if you can't bet on yourself, who's going to bet on you?
Yeah.
right? So if you're going to go into it thinking you're going to fail, right, you're probably right, because that's what it takes. It takes failure to learn. And once you fall on your face several times, you're going to get up, man. You're going to learn different ways to do it right.
Yeah.
So I feel blessed to have gone through that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people coming into the industry, or even people who have been here a long time that are struggling now, need to understand it's okay. Yeah. We just need to learn new ways of doing things.
Right. And then change is more than just a jingle in your pocket. Our first book that I ever gave you, I brought with me today. It's not the book, but this is the first book that I ever gave Emilio when we met.
I love that book.
We've talked about this over the years a little bit. Change is more than just a jingle in your pocket, right? Everybody wants to equate, how great their success is with money, and I look at it completely different, and I know you do as well.
Yeah, it's not in the overall vision, Dan. It's not about making the most money. It's not about doing the most amount of transactions. It's about being the best that I personally can be. My only competition is me. Okay,
Yeah.
I need to be beating myself last year, and that's not necessarily the volume or the number of transactions.
Right.
It's the level of service that I bring, and I really want to bring it to a higher level. So this year, going into 2024, I'm focused on my physical, focused on my mental, on my spiritual, and being the best leader that I can be here at Engel & Volkers.
And that's great, because that's a good transition, because one of my questions I want to ask you, luxury, right? The brand itself. I look around the shop.
Yeah.
Right? It's not an office. We call it a shop here.
That's right.
Right. And so how has that vision taken you from the 27-year-old guy, just looking to figure out how to even put a house on the market or sell a house,
that's right,
to where the actual footprint is now?
Yeah, what's so funny is that we have this beautiful luxury brand here in Rhode Island, which rivals the best in the business, right? We're right up there.
Yeah.
And I mean, we got people on our network putting $40, $50 million homes, in Salt Lake City or out in Italy or all across the globe, right? And here in Rhode Island, we're working to break into the luxury market.
Sure.
We've been successful, but we still got a lot of the naysayers.
Yeah.
Thank you. Continue doing that, because that's exactly what happened to me when I started in real estate. And then people seeing what happened. Oh my God, who's this Emilio guy? Who's this Emilio? Who's the Dispirito team? Who are all these wonderful people that are actually professional and doing what they should be doing?
Yeah.
And thank you. So Rhode Island is a bit kind of insulated, and we're very
incestuous.
But we appreciate what we know, and we're guarded from what we don't know. But if we open our eyes and really look into some things, there's a lot of really great things happening in the industry and here. And I'm so proud that my business partner Joe Fazio and I were able to bring the vision and the brand of Engel & Volkers here to the market.
And I might even be a little. I can even admit, I'm like, what is this company name that Emilio just came out of nowhere with? You know?
Starts a conversation.
Yes. I was like, I've never heard of him. And it's funny.
Me either.
Before we sat down right now, we were talking a little bit about this, and I was like, I saw the first branch that I've ever seen in Cape Coral, Florida.
Now you can't help but see it.
Right. And now, when I travel, my eyes have now drawn to the name. Even though I might not say it correctly all the time, it's like Balkun. People don't know the Balkun, but the Engel & Volkers.
Well, it's a brand. It's a brand.
Yes.
It's a brand built on quality, right? It's been around since '77, 33 countries, 17,000 advisors. Dan, I mean, it is a well-polished running machine, and they put systems and marketing in place where we don't have to do it on a local level. All right, and I got to tell you, we don't just hire agents. Agents are transactional. We have advisors. Advisors are there regardless of what our clients are doing. Selling now, selling later, buying now, buying later. We're going to guide them through and connect them with the right people and the right resources. And lastly, we hire agents and turn them into advisors. And we look for 3 core competencies: competence, exclusivity, and passion. And if they don't have all 3 of those, then they're not working here.
Right. And that's a good way to look at it, because, again, would you rather have 100 agents?
No.
Or would you rather have 10 advisors?
Yeah, I'd rather have 50 strong advisors, a boutique brokerage, a true boutique brokerage with the support of a luxury brand behind it. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Emilio, you just talked about the 3 core values of what you want to see in your advisors. So how do you plan on continuing that? How do you, recruit? How do you mentor? How do you put people in the best ways to win?
So our advisors all have that, right? We don't welcome anybody in that doesn't fit that, because it's all about, and people use culture, the word, so much. It's like too much of a hot word. I hate to use it, but really the whole vibe of a place and how people collaborate and come together, that's huge. But the overall vision, Dan, I would say would be support in the way of not we got a marketing person, we got a transaction coordinator. You can get that almost anywhere, okay?
Correct, yeah.
But it's all about who's teaching you these things. Are they in the trenches with you? Or are they saying they're a non-competing broker because a non-competing broker is going to really mess you up when you're going out there trying to get one of 445,000 housing units? No. I want the guy that's in the trenches with me, throwing the grenades, lining the bazooka up, freaking target there, right?
Yeah.
I know that because I'm in the trenches. I'm throwing out the grenades, right?
Yeah.
So each and every week, man, we spend a ton of time with our advisors. We got a set schedule on Fridays 10 to 11 where we're covering what they need to know, what they want to know, covering the tools, the tech, the things that are happening and working to increase their production.
Yeah, and right now I think more volatile than ever, right? I mean, we're looking at lawsuits that have come down. We have a lot of high interest rates. We've got property values at an all-time high as well. We've got an economy that's producing, but we're seeing other things like high credit card debt. We have a lot of anxiety, I think, right?
Sure.
So getting people trained, getting advisors up and running and showing them the tools, because again, we met in a distressed property market, right? And we're not
good.
Yeah, that was good. I mean, it really toughened you up, I think.
Yeah.
Like, the transactions went like, oh, I just listed a house and got 17 offers over asking first day.
Took 180 days to get something impending.
Right.
It's all good.
And then took another 180 days to get it approved.
Yeah.
And then that buyer left because they didn't want to be there anymore. We had to submit a new offer. So, I'm glad that when we met, we did.
Yeah.
Because I've also seen you grow successfully, whether it was at your first, like I had 3 stops before I opened up Balkun Title. I worked at 3 different law firms.
That's right.
You've seen me grow through that as well. I've seen you at a couple of different shops grow, get the process down, get a team going, obviously then partner with Joe and really take it off, to the next level. You just opened up, we'll talk about that, you just opened up your second location, correct?
Yeah, Dan, right, that's right. And just to kind of preface what we're talking about here, I got to give a very big shout out to Alan Gammons and Dean DeTonencourt, because those two were fantastic, and I learned so much from them. They still are fantastic. They're amazing leaders, amazing men. And then Dean introduced me to my business partner, Joe Fazio. Now, when I first met Joe Fazio, he walked into my office at HomeSmart over there, and I had a stack of note cards on my desk. He goes, "What is that?"
Oh my God, I remember the
and
note
I go,
cards. That's
"Well,
so funny.
those are my leads, man. Those are my clients." And he's like, "What?" Right? So he implemented systems. Him and I went back and forth. He said, "Write down everything you do in a week." It was insane. Yeah. And what we did was we figured out how to keep a guy like me out selling, shaking hands, kissing babies, doing what I do best, making connections. And we put that system together. My business back then went from 18 million to 27 million in 12 months. Wow. We now took those systems and we put them on steroids. And now all of our advisors have those Dispirito team systems in addition to Angle and Volkers working for them.
Yeah, that's
keeps
amazing.
them on the road, man, keeps their production up and keeps them focused and happy and their clients happier.
And they got you right there, right? I mean, they still have you. They have you on speed dial.
That's right.
You're not, I'm also competing for that listing too, so I don't want to give them any more information how I can beat them. Yeah.
Open book. Here's my playbook.
Yeah. So Emilio, we talked about, where you've started and where you've grown to. So what is going to separate you and the brokerage to continue to list high-end properties, right? Everybody talks about getting into high-end, but I don't know if they really have a game plan, and we're not here to share all of those secrets, but, what's the game plan for you guys to continue to grow into that market?
That's a good question, Dan. Thank you. It's all about the people, right? It's all about the network and surrounding yourselves with birds of a feather flock together, right? True. We want the right birds flying in our flock, okay? Right. And all around the globe, you're going to see that same consistency. It's like going to the Capitol Grill, bro. Yeah. Like you go to the Capitol Grill in Providence, you go to the Capitol Grill in Boston, guess what? They're going to go ahead and welcome you at the door, Hey, thank you. Come on in, Mr. Balkun. So they're going to welcome you in, bro. They're going to pull out the chair.
German Polak.
They're going to pull out the chair, right? They're going to make sure you're seated. You got a linen over your lap, man. They're coming right to the left. They're pouring you water, throwing some breadsticks on the table. You don't want or ask for anything while you're there. Yeah. Your cup is always filled. Your steak is cooked perfect, bro. That's the type of people that we want with that passion, that exclusivity, and that confidence, okay? Yeah. All across the world, we've got that. Right. So we can tap into not only our network, but their network. network. We can hit their Rolodex, not to date myself.
So the
people,
steak,
the network.
The steak in California is going to be the same as it is in Rhode Island.
That's right, man. The steak and wine they're just as good everywhere you go. Yeah. So that's a big thing. The other thing too is where we place homes. Now we have the extensive domestic global exchange here at Engel & Volkers. It's a fancy term for saying we are going to put your home where the buyers are. Okay, so outside of putting it on Engel & Volkers website, it's on the Wall Street Journal, it's in Financial Times, it's in James Edition, Madison Global, it's on Jawai, which I never heard of before. So we're in all the different countries in their languages and most importantly in their currency with local advisors and shops where they are. So we meet the buyers where they are.
I feel like I'm going to see it like on a plane one day.
You are. We're actually on private jets too, right? So it's about being there, but it's also more or less in hand, right? When buyers leave our listings, they've got a beautiful property expose, because guess what? It's on cardstock and it's so nice. They don't throw it out. They leave it on their countertops, okay?
I'm using the magazine in my office right now.
Oh, we got a magazines too.
Yes, but there's a lot of good swag.
But the expose, right? They leave it in their car, the countertop, wherever. It becomes a talking point and puts that advisor front and center when they're looking at somebody to sell their home.
So would you say, Emilio, listing these 7-figure and 8-figure homes, like there's a different network, right, of people. There might be 20 people looking at a $500,000 house, but there may only be 1 or 2 selective or buyers that are actually looking at those types of properties, wouldn't you say?
That's right. It's all about having access to those buyers. And that's what happens when you couple your intentions and your business with a brand like Engel & Volkers, is we do have access through our network and in our network's network. I mean, it just keeps expanding. But Dan, don't get me wrong, right? Because if you have a $400,000 home, we're going to take the best care of you and we're going to make your property experience, because luxury is in the experience, we're going to make your property pop and we're going to get the right buyers in the right terms, with the right terms for you. I want to kind of compare Engel & Volkers like Mercedes. Let me explain. So you have Toyota, and Toyota's not luxury, so what do they have to do? They have to make Lexus. So Lexus sells a luxury. So there's several real estate brokerages out there that have to have a luxury division or a luxury this or that. Listen, it's all good. I'm not saying we're better than anybody. We're just different, okay? So Engel & Volkers is set up like Mercedes, and it happens to be German too, which is funny. Now Mercedes, you can get the Maybach, which is a $300,000 car, but we also sell the C-Class, which is a $50,000, $60,000 car. And we are able to sell down, which means that everybody that wants the Maybach experience, they're getting it in the C-Class as well.
Yeah, you walk into that dealership and the salespeople, whether they're selling you the $50,000 or $60,000 car, you're still getting the Mercedes. You get to sit in the lounge, you get to sit and they offer you coffee.
That's right. And we do that here too.
That's what you do here as well.
Dan, 19 years in the business. I got to put the mic on you for a second, right?
Thanks, man.
You've seen the ups, the downs, the flows, the ebbs, okay? We're in a different market, okay, that none of us have ever really been in. How do you feel like that puts your clients at an advantage when working with you?
Yeah, I mean, I had a full head of dark hair when I started. That's 2004.
At least it went white.
I got that going for me. Thank you. Yes. I got in the business in 2004, and it kind of reminds me of how 2017 started, or 2018. It was like that roller coaster. We've been 2004, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. And then I just went, it crashed. We were in a totally different. So here we are in 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 22 started leveling off, right? We saw interest rates more than double in less than a year. So what I feel now is, I'm open. I'm listening, I'm learning, I'm seeing other parts of the country. How it's evolving other places will always tell us how it will react here. My thought is, you have to keep the pedal to the metal right now.
That's right.
Whether it's a good market or a bad market, you have to be proactive and not react. You can't react to what's going on. You got to be proactive. So if people are going to sit back, like last year, I started talking about this in 2021 in October, and then by October of 22, and here we are in October, November now of 23. I just wanted to advise people, hey, rates won't be like this forever. Housing values will, either continue to go or they'll level off. I've talked to plenty of professionals and plenty of people that have been in this business a while now, and we're unprecedented. There are people that have been in this 30 years, and there are people that have been in 3 months. Nobody has seen this it's very stagnant right now. We have our listings, which we're always going to have. People are going to buy, sell, die, move.
Right.
But I feel like the off market, like the wholesale game and the off market property is just as equally as good. So you're not really seeing that on a daily basis. Where there's a lot going on in that market as well, because that's where the tumultuous homeowner is really struggling. You're seeing people that don't have the money now to upgrade the properties. They're embarrassed about what the properties look like. So the wholesalers, or the people that are able to adapt to not just listing property and bringing buyers to property, are finding the consumers, which I think is important too, because that is changing the way properties get reevaluated.
It's bringing inventory
and that's bringing inventory in, and it's also keeping price values steady.
That's right.
Right, because if we had to go down and look at the other way of like, I offer somebody owes $200,000 on their house, it's a distressed property, but the wholesaler is able to offer them $250,000 or $260,000, so they still walk away with money. They're then putting the $150,000 or $200,000 back into the house to make it the $500,000 or the $600,000 house. So we're in unprecedented times. I am just keeping my ear to the ground, but my job is to motivate, get people going in the right direction, bring value as always, which I've always done. I don't know if we're heading into a short sale debacle like when you and I first met, but I think we should have our antennas up. I think we should, don't think that just everything is going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because I do feel like there is a reset. And I've been equating it to this, that 08 roller coaster was, we all clicked up, but it just went down quick. Like there was no, so now it's that new roller coaster. When you go to a theme park, those old click, and then you went down. Now like your feet are dangling when you go on these roller coasters. You get up to the top, right? Does it go straight down anymore?
You get hit with mist and stuff.
Right,
like
but what
lights,
it does is when
everything.
it goes up to the top,
Bugs
it
in the
no
mouth.
longer goes down, right? It kind of takes you, you know how like these new roller coasters, they kind of take you along and they let you look down and let you see how you're gonna fall, and then it goes down. And I feel like we're in that little realm of like just surfacing to the top, and now we're like, oh my God, like what's going to happen?
Yeah.
So again, let's keep educating ourselves. Let's keep motivating ourselves. Let's continue to do the, don't look at it from like, it'll change. It will change, but what side of the change are you going to be on?
Let me ask you something. How do you keep somebody motivated in this market? Like, what are you telling? So you work with real estate agents in all different brokerages. Okay, some of the advisors here at Engel & Volkers.
Sure.
How are you keeping people motivated in your office, in those other shops and whatnot that come, or offices that come in with their head down? What are you saying to them?
Yeah, I'm saying put your 2 feet on the ground every day. It starts there. If I feel like I wake up every day and my motivation is down, then I'm going to feel like a Debbie Downer. I have to get up every day and be a leader, just like you and everybody else out there that may be looking at this. Like, how do I motivate my people? If we're going to worry about interest rates or we're going to worry about what's happening, then we've already lost. So me, it's about putting the best foot on the ground. Yeah, I'm working on getting my physical back too. We went through a period of time where I abused myself by just go.
That's right.
I'm using this time to start reading again. I'm using this time to motivate myself in different ways, but I'm also going around helping people that have been in the industry 3, 4, 5 years that are going, Dan, I have no idea what's happening right now. And I'm like, that's okay. You know what I mean? Some people were only mentored by people that have been in the business a few years more than them.
That's right.
And those have not been mentored by anybody. They've got the 2004 mentality, just up, the 2017-18 mentality. Oh, my coach says, if I was paying somebody $1,300 a month to coach me, I'm probably going to listen to what they're saying.
Yeah.
That coach may never have sold real estate.
That's right.
They might have never been in real estate. They only know how to motivate people, but they're motivating people to be fearful of like rate. And there's no value in that.
Yeah.
They're motivating people and like just, do handwritten notes. Well, there's a value to that, but why am I doing handwritten notes? Why am I door knocking? We need to kind of go back to some of the old school methods, I feel, rather than just depend on technology.
It's called a network, right?
Yeah, our network is everything. And again, I've there are things that are changing now, like the NAR decision. We've seen a lot of volatility in how agents are going to get paid now. And that brings us to our buyer agency type stuff.
That's right.
And so we have to continue to shine light and show people how to sell, because again, I don't know if that was really given out to people the last 4 or 5 years, like how to be really a salesperson.
Yeah.
When you got into the business in 2010, 2011, like you had some sales background. I know that because we've talked off camera about
toilet paper and urinal cakes door to door.
Right. Yeah. You know, it's like selling Bibles almost. You know what I mean? It's
I'd
like
rather be selling Bibles.
Yeah. You know, but it's one of those things where like, God, what if you didn't have an Alan Gammons? What if you didn't have like the other agents that were in that office that I know that were, you know, powerhouses. Yeah. You know, you have the ability. Everybody has the ability to learn from somebody. But how you apply it, you know, do you want to get in the trenches? Do you want to sell urinal cakes for the next 2 years?
It depends.
Right. No, but I mean, like, you know, but so if it means making less but learning more, then the other side of it, if you are a true professional, will continue to grow. Yeah.
That's absolutely right.
So the big discussion, you know, over the last couple of months, my friend, buyer agency.
Yep.
Right. Buyer agency agreements, buyer agency, how do we get paid? We're starting to see people put $0 in for listings, $1 into listings. Yeah. And it's just like, oh my God, it's like an uprising, right? It's worse than some of the things that have ever happened in this market. But so your take to the camera, you know, and myself and everybody else listening, where do you see or how do you see buyer agency changing?
I'm excited about it. I got to tell you, anytime the conversation changes, it allows you an opportunity to talk about something new. People are nervous about it, right? Agents are nervous about it. They're not getting the support from their brokerages to walk them through on how to do this and how to deal with it. Yeah. And I just want to tell them it's going to be okay. I promise you, it's going to be okay. Stay consistent. Always give your clients the best top-rated service, okay? Service you would want your mom and dad to get, okay? Your grandma to get. Take care of your people. And let me tell you something. When you sit down with a client and you have a buyer agency agreement in front of them, if they see you as a viable and valuable professional, they're gonna hire you. And they're not gonna think twice about whatever it is that you're gonna have to charge them to be compensated because, think about it, they see value in you.
Right.
So the only time you won't get compensated as a buyer's agent, okay, is gonna be your fault. Okay, you don't want to fall into the trap of working for free, okay? We don't want anybody in the poorhouse. It doesn't matter what brokerage they are in or where they come from or whatever, man. I want everybody to thrive and be successful. But the reality of it is that they won't, Dan, okay? And here's why. Because a lot of people are stuck in their ways and it's the culling of the herd, okay? A lot of realtors are gonna fall off the vine because they're not gonna wanna change, they're not gonna wanna do stuff, and it's gonna open up market share for the agents and advisors that are adapting. So make sure you learn and adapt.
Yeah, and we're gonna continue that conversation, right? We're gonna continue to promote it, we're gonna continue to show people how to I think a lot of people haven't been taught value and what realtors do. Right? They don't know, like, what do you mean value? The agent pays me. The other person's going to pay me. Oh, great. That's the end of the conversation. How do you get paid? And they go, oh, the other agent's going to pay me. Or the other seller's going to pay me. And that's it. And then they start putting them on a list, you know, and here's your properties, and here's your, you know, and they start
auto search, you know. But it's all about having unique value propositions. Now, you brought up earlier on in a conversation we had about off-market properties. So on my agreement with buyers, I teach them and tell them about our off-market property search. We're in a very low inventory market right now. And that allows us the opportunity to give them something extra, give them something of value. And we're collaborating with Sam Alba at RE/MAX. We're collaborating with the Nathan Clarks or the Kyles are out there, right?
The Jimmy Murrays.
The Jimmy Murrays, right? But the CJ and Beth Moss, right? Fantastic people, right? These are all go-getters, and they're all people drumming up inventory. So again, talk about that value as a professional in our local network. The other thing you can do too is, do you have a transaction coordinator, right? Put that on your agreement, right? You're going to get a professional transaction coordinator. Why? Because it's something we take for granted, but it's something that the consumer is going to love, because guess what? Without the waiter bringing the steak to your table, you're not eating, okay? Okay, so the transaction coordinator makes sure that the steak gets delivered. Make sure you're eating, right?
Well, brother, this has been amazing. We could probably go on for another couple hours for sure, because that's our connection. I know that. But I always finish up every segment, you know, because I need to hear it. No, and we also love to, you know, give people a good idea of, you know, why would you work with me or Dan Balkun and Balkun Title? You know, that's always a road I like to go down.
I mean, why would you go buy a diamond ring from a jewelry store, right? It's because they specialize in diamonds. You're not buying it off the back of a truck and it's a cubic zirconian, right? You're going in and you're working with professionals that have been doing it for decades, okay? You're working with a staff that cares about what they do and are happy to go into work and to support their clientele. Okay,
Yeah.
that's why it's all about the lasting impression. And when you're at a closing table and you're working with a title company that knows how to close the deal and make sure your clients leave with a smile, then you've done it right.
Yeah. Wow, that's the first time. Thank you. That's the first time I've ever been mentioned as a diamond.
Oof. Ooh, look at that.
Precious stone I am. Brother, thank you very much.
You're
This
very
has
welcome.
been
My
awesome.
pleasure. Thank you.
Very eye-opening.
Thanks for coming
and,
by.
Congratulations and continue to grow.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Through and through, as we talked during our discussion, Emilio made some great points of exactly what it takes to be a luxury agent. If you're interested in that scene, if you're interested in growing your business, if you're interested in growing into luxury, Emilio Dispirito is the guy you want to talk to.